Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's FPL Yusuf and welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be talking all things game week 34. We're going to be diving into our transfer targets, looking at players that we can bring in and we can target for double game week and much more. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay guys, welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel. So today, as I said in the intro, it's going to be all things game week 34. We're going to be looking at double players, people that we could be bringing in. We're going to be looking at different positions and who are the top 3 transfer targets in each position to be targeting for this upcoming week. So as you guys can see on screen, this is a screenshot of my team that finished on the week just gone. Decent score overall in the end. I finished on 80 points all week, all out. I did get a bit lucky. I had Anthony Gordon as my first sub on my bench, and luckily for me, Ivan Toney didn't play, so I got an automatic sub from that. And also, Rayan Nori didn't play either, and I got a clean sheet from Anthony Robertson coming in. But other than that, obviously, Cole Palmer, the star of the show, 4 goals. A few people in one of my other leagues actually had him captain, so there was big points to be played for this week. But yeah, all in all, can't really complain. Green Arrow, I think I'm up to about 2.7 million now, which I'm still not happy with, but I'm hoping that this upcoming game week and this video will hopefully help us move up more rank and hopefully get some big scores this week. Okay, so we're going to do the goalkeepers and defenders together for this first section. For the goalkeepers, to be honest with you, there's only really 2 that I'm looking at, and that is, as you guys can see on screen, as Alisson and Pickford. Now, I think this one comes down to whether or not you've got 3 Liverpool assets outfield. Now, I know a lot of people, if you are free hitting or if you're looking for transfers, will probably be looking to target the Liverpool attack, which would be Salah, Diaz, Darwin. Trent's obviously come back as well, which kind of throws a spanner into the works. If you guys see my free hit video, then you would know that that was something that I was contemplating with, whether it would be Alisson or Trent as my third Liverpool asset. At the time of recording, which is Wednesday afternoon, I have currently changed Alisson from my draft and put in Trent myself. So for me personally, I'm actually going to start Jordan Pickford in goal. I don't think there's anything wrong with him. I think both of them. I don't expect either team to keep 2 clean sheets out of 2. Obviously, Liverpool play Everton in one of the games, so Alisson will be going up against Pickford. I think if you're not on free hit and you're looking to make transfers, maybe the goalkeeper position shouldn't really matter to you that much. If you've got a free transfer that you're looking to burn and you just want to get an extra double fixture player in and you've got the space, then I would say go for Alisson. But other than that, I don't think there's really a lot to choose between these 2 per se. The other goalkeeper, as you can see, I've got in there is Andre Onana from Man United, who obviously will be playing Sheffield United. I think that he is a keeper that could, provided had a good game, end up with a couple of save points and some bonus points. And I do expect Man United to keep a clean sheet against Sheffield United, but you never know. But like I said, if you're free hitting, then you're going to be targeting a double goalkeeper. And if you're not free hitting, then I don't know if goalkeeper will necessarily be your main go-to for this week. But those are the top 3. I've gone for Alisson just number 1, Pickford in number 2, and Andre Onana at number 3. So on to defenders. Now, this is where it gets tricky. So as you guys can see, I've got 1, 2, and 3, but I've got multiple players for each position. Now, the first one I've gone for is obviously the Arsenal defense. And for me, it's between Saliba, Gabriel, and Ben White, as it always is. For me in particular in this video, I think I've chosen Gabriel versus Ben White. I think Gabriel just offers a little bit more than Saliba in terms of attacking threat. I think the comparison between Ben White and Gabriel, Ben White in the Aston Villa game has just gone. Obviously, Arsenal lost 2-0, unfortunately. Lost the clean sheet, but Ben White did get subbed off early. And this is a little bit of a trend with him, that he does get that sort of 70th minute sub quite a lot, actually, which could actually play in your favour. Whereas Gabriel obviously didn't get the sub and actually ended up losing his clean sheet. So I think there's definitely an argument to have between them. I think for me personally, price-wise, Gabriel's obviously cheaper. I think he's just got more attacking threat, especially from set pieces. So he will be the one that I would rather choose over Ben White. But if you are looking for a differential and someone who's lower owned, Ben White is your man. So yeah, I've gone for the Arsenal defense as number 1. Obviously, they have two fixtures against Wolves and Chelsea. So not the easiest fixtures, not the hardest of fixtures. Chelsea coming off the back of a good result. Wolves as well, not too bad. They're starting to pick up form now, so it won't be easy for Arsenal. But I do expect at least 1 clean sheet in that game, probably against Wolves, if anything else. Maybe against Chelsea, but I do expect 2 wins from Arsenal and hopefully at least 1 clean sheet for Gabriel. So yeah, Gabriel in at number 1. Number 2 for me is a toss-up. Now this is really where you go versus minutes or versus upside, and that is between Van Dijk or Trent Alexander-Arnold. Now, I think at the time of recording, I think Colin Bradley is going to be out. So I don't know whether Trent will play both the games. I think that is the risk you take by going for Trent. As of right now, he's only 8% owned, so he's very low owned and obviously has such an upside. But there is also the chance that Joe Gomez could play right back. Trent's just come back from injury, got his few minutes against Crystal Palace off the bench. I don't know whether he is ready to play both games. Obviously, Liverpool play Atalanta midweek, which I think will be quite a telling sign. I think if Trent starts, maybe there's a risk of rotation, because if you actually look at Liverpool, and I will try and insert a screenshot here if I can, they actually have 4 away fixtures over their next 4 games and all have a 2-day respite between them. So I am worried for them a little bit on this upcoming run, and I don't know whether Trent's got he's just come back from injury. I don't know whether he's going to be fit enough to be playing that amount of games that frequently. So I think there's something definitely to consider there, and just be mindful and cautious about bringing him in. Whereas Virgil van Dijk, on the other hand, does offer you that 90 minutes every game, is a big threat from set pieces as well, which obviously for Liverpool and Van Dijk himself could come to fruition. So I think there's something to consider about. I think me personally, as of right now, as I said, I've got Trent in my team. I've gone for the upside. He's low owned and has got a high ceiling, but I'm also not 100% sure whether he'll play both the games or not. And finally, the third defender I've got on here is Tariq Mitchell, who just seems to be re-energized under this new manager and in this new system. He's obviously playing left wing back and he's getting a lot forward. Probably more so, a lot more than he did under Roy Hodgson. So he is getting chances on the opposite end. But also, Crystal Palace aren't exactly the worst defence in the world. There is always a chance of clean sheet. Now, they have West Ham and Newcastle. I don't know whether I expect a clean sheet against Newcastle, but I think it's definitely viable against West Ham. Jared Bowen probably going to miss this game. Paqueta, as one of our differentials last week, didn't turn up, which we will get onto in a bit. But I think Tariq Mitchell is definitely a viable option. If you're looking for someone who not only has a double, but has good fixtures after that, I think he's a perfect shout. And they're coming in at 4.6 million. I don't think you can really go wrong. So, yeah, top 3 in order. Gabriel first. I put Trent here, but like I said, it's between Trent and Van Dijk, and then Tariq Mitchell in at number 3. Okay, now my top 3 midfielder targets for this upcoming game week. Now, 2 of them are going to be very obvious. If you haven't got them at this point, please just go and get them. As you guys can see on the screen, number 1 is Mohamed Salah. I know Liverpool have just come off the back of a bad result against Crystal Palace, obviously having the bad result against Atalanta as well. They obviously go to play against Atalanta again before the next deadline starts, where they'll be away and they are trying to turn over a 3-goal deficit, which, in hindsight isn't exactly the best situation, but it's not impossible. I do think, even though Salah's had a bad couple of games, I do think he is still there for points, and I do think he is still the best asset in the game. So for me, Salah, not much explanation needed there on penalties, but good for bonus points, is coming in at number 1. Number 2 is Bukayo Saka. Like I said, number 1 and 2 are pretty obvious choices. And like I said, if you don't have them, please go and get them. Obviously, Saka also has the same double as the Arsenal boys. He's got Wolves and Chelsea. Two fixtures, which I think, 2 defences, should I say, that I think Arsenal could get at. And I was thinking about putting Havertz in here, but I thought Saka's route to points with the penalties just edges him that little bit more. But like I said, if you're on a free hit, and you saw my free hit draft video at the start of the week, I've gone for both Havertz and Saka. I think Havertz in that number 9 role could cause problems, but for the sake of this video, for the sake of anyone not free hitting, if you haven't got Bukayo Saka, please go and get him. So he is coming in at number 2. And finally, number 3 is Eberechi Eze. Now, he is currently very low owned. He's at 5%, and he will be in my differentials section in the later on this video. But Eze, for me, is just a little bit more nailed at the moment than Elise. Now, Elise did start their last game, obviously against Liverpool, played 67 minutes, got pulled off. Not surprisingly, because he's obviously just come back from injury, so I don't think they want to take the risk with him. Elise is definitely an option to be considered. Again, I'm going to come on to him because he's another one of the differentials. Spoiler alert, but both of them are going to be in there. But for me, on this list, if you are looking to make like your own transfer this week without taking any minuses, and you haven't got a chip to play, I think Eberechi Eze for me he's just that guy. He's the creative spark that Crystal Palace have. He's on a lot of set pieces for them as well, so there's more routes to points. I think if Mateta's not on the pitch, I think it will either be him or Elise who takes a penalty. So there's an outside chance that he gets penalties. But yeah, for me, Eberechi Eze is that number 3 midfield spot. Now, forwards. This is a very different selection to what I'm used to having. Now, this is, bear in mind, these rankings are just based on my opinion alone. As you can see, we've got 3 double game week players here. So firstly, we're going to start off with Matheus Cunha. Now, the reason why I've put him at number 1 is, I know he's got Arsenal as one of those games, but I genuinely think he is one of those players that just technically on the ball is so good. And I think he can score against anyone. We saw, it wasn't too long ago that he scored, I think it was Man City. Either, I think way back, he obviously got the goal against them, which a lot of people probably wouldn't be expecting. But I do think that Cunha has got that something that he could get a return. Now, obviously, I'm backing Arsenal to get the clean sheet, but it wouldn't surprise me if Cunha rocked up with the goal. So the reason that's why I've gone for him as number one. He's just obviously come off the back of a brace. He's hitting form at the right time, and he is Wolves' main outlet. I think he'll probably be on penalties as well when he's on the pitch. I know Sarabi is there, but I think he will be the main man. And yes, I've gone for an outside rogue one at the first position today, and that is Matthias Cunha. Now, number two is Dominic Solanke. Now, Solanke is got one of the harder doubles where he goes away from home in both of them. However, both these teams that he's played against, he has actually scored in the reverse fixture at the start of the season. So he has got form of being able to put the ball in the back of the net against these type of teams. He's currently not in my double game week team for my free hit, but he's someone that I'm definitely considering. His price point, percentage wise, he's still not massively owned. It's still, you'd still make good rank if you had him in return. I just think overall, everything Bournemouth do kind of revolves through him and goes round him. So he's going to be integral to how they play. So I think for me personally, yeah, Dominic Solanke coming in at the number two spot, I think you can't go wrong with that really. Like the price that he's offering you, but also the way of returns that he is the main man. I think it's a very good shout. And last but not least, this is a little bit of an outside shout, but as I said, as we were talking about Crystal Palace earlier, I've gone for Mateta as my third and final forward. Obviously, I think when he's on the pitch, he probably will be on pens, but he's a great budget enabler. Now, at a time where people who aren't free hitting, maybe haven't got a wild card, are going to be looking to bring in like maybe Son next week, maybe bring in like an extra Arsenal midfielder this week to double up in the midfield, or maybe bring an extra Liverpool midfielder or attacker in, and you're going to need the money freed up. Obviously, when Man City have their double in 37, you're going to probably want Foden, maybe De Bruyne as an outside shout, so you're going to need money from somewhere. And I think Mateta as a third striker gives you that money, and he frees it up with a nice asset as himself. So yeah, for me, number three, Mateta. So let's just go to recap the order. So we've got Matthias Cunha at number one, Dominic Solanke number two, and obviously Mateta in at number three. Right, so differentials of the week time. Unfortunately, we rolled another 0 again. I couldn't believe it. Rodri was benched as we picked him last week. We had Lucas Paqueta, who West Ham lost to Fulham, only coming back with a 1 point haul, which it was just so disappointing. And then obviously Havertz blanking against Aston Villa as well. So 0 for 3 on that one. It's been a disappointing last 2 game weeks for doubles, but I'm hopeful, and I'm very hopeful that this week will be the one. So as you can see on the screen, I put 1 and 2 together. Is Eze and Elise, as I talked about in previous sections. Eze currently only 5% owned. Elise only 0.7% owned. So if you're looking for a differential this week, someone who has an upside, Elise is your man at 5.6 million. Again, a great budget enabler. I mean, either way, I don't think you can go wrong. And I do think there's a genuine question to be asked. If you're on a free hit, could you feasibly get both of them in? I think it's definitely a question you could ask. You could definitely see 2 Arsenal midfielders, 2 Crystal Palace, and Mo Salah by himself. 100% I could see that. Maybe Darwin up front instead of Luis Diaz. But yeah, for me, Eze and Elise, both of them on here, both very cheap. So like I said, anyone who's not free hitting, they're affordable for everyone. And yeah, for the percentage that own, 5% and 0.7% respectively, I think that's quite crazy actually. So yeah, I've gone for Eze first and Elise second, only because Elise has just come back from injury. So I'm sure the minutes are going to be managed. But other than that, yeah, I think 1 or 2, I think you're pretty much good to go, to be honest with you, with either of them. Now, the last differential I've gone for is a player which I've spoken about already, and that is Mr. Matthias Cunha. Now, he's currently only 4.5% owned, again, which surprises me because he is kind of like Wolves' main man, and obviously he's been, before his injury, he was playing really well, getting goals here and there. So it surprises me that he's still this low. Now, obviously, as I said, the time of recording is only Wednesday, so there's still time for people to play their free hit and bring these type of players in. But I think for me, as an outside chance, the only reason why I've got him at 3 and not higher is because he's got the Arsenal game, and I think Arsenal will be a tricky test for Wolves. But like I said, I think Cunha is one of those players that could genuinely score against anyone. So food for thought there. So we've gone for Eze in at number 1, Michael Olise number 2, and Matthias Cunha in at number 3. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it today, please drop it a thumbs up and subscribe down below. I should be back hopefully tomorrow with an FPL challenge video, and then Friday will be our final team talk / team selection video. So yeah, once again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye bye.